It's in the six figures. It's $108,000. Here is the absolute best part. It's not the six figures that she manifested. It is that on top of that, she found an extra 35 grand.
What if the way you think about money is the exact thing keeping you from having more of it? Every thought you have about money is either expanding your capacity for wealth or capping it. And most of us are walking around with beliefs that are quietly sabotaging our success. I'm Jillian Minter, and welcome to Quantum Wealth, where we're blending manifestation and mindset with proven business strategy to help you break through income plateaus, dissolve subconscious blocks, and build a soul-aligned business that supports the lifestyle you actually want. If you're an entrepreneur who's tired of trading time for money and ready to quantum leap your income, you're in the right place. This is where woo meets business. Let's go.
Welcome to the Quantum Wealth Podcast. Today we are talking about the flip side of the coin of the quantum leap. So often when it comes to my coaching, my teaching, a lot of manifestation coaches, a lot of manifestation teachers, we're talking about the quantum leap, right? The big result, the things that happened so fast that were so unbelievable. It happened before your very eyes, before you could even blink. It was so exciting and you got this huge money, this huge result. And I want to talk about the opposite of that. The part of manifestation that is not as sexy, it's not as glorified, it's the part that takes time. It is the opposite of instant gratification. It is knowing that sometimes things take time. Sometimes what we want doesn't happen right away. It doesn't happen in the timeline that we want. And that's okay. We're always on the universe's timeline, not ours. And how to use that to your advantage. And I just want to normalize that sometimes things take time. And also normalize that sometimes that doesn't feel good to hear. It's not what we want to hear. And if we can accept that, that's actually how we quantum leap. It actually speeds up our manifestations. I have some amazing client stories that I want to share with you and examples of how things took longer than probably the clients wanted, than the ideal timeline, and also how amazing the results are. And I just want to ground us all in accepting that things can take time, in accepting that we're on the universe's timeline and that it all works out in divine, perfect timing, and bring back patience and normalize that sometimes good things take time, and that's totally fine. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. And also, if you can truly accept that, of course, that's going to speed up your manifestation. So first things first, I think it's really important to recognize that not just in manifestation teaching, but in this day and age, we want things right away. And with technology, with the internet, with AI, with the introduction of TikTok and things like that, we know that our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. And that partly is buying into that instant gratification, that I want things right away, that, oh my goodness, I want it instantly. I don't want to wait. I want it right here, right now. I decided this is what's happening and I want it to happen right this second. I know we all know those stories of people who became an overnight success. And of course, it did not happen overnight. That is a myth. Sometimes people have these big breaks and it's amazing. And also more often than not, those wins, those overnight success, those people that are discovered, the people that finally make it, were working years in the background when no one was paying attention. And I think it's important that we remind ourselves, especially now in this day and age, that that is normal and we need to put in those reps. And we sometimes need to pay our dues. We sometimes need to give things time. Sometimes we can't see how that is serving us in the greater good. And also it always is. And I noticed this recently when I did my 10K without trying challenge. So if you are unaware, last month I ran a live 5-day challenge and it was called 10K without trying. And I asked everyone their manifestation goals. I wrote them all down for everyone. We were working on creating that money for them. And it was really the energetics of money, of how can you make $10,000 more without trying any harder, with just shifting your energy and who you're being around money. And there were some people that did not manifest the money that they desired in that 5-day challenge. And there were people who did. We had both flip sides of the coin, the people that made money at an insane rate and the people that didn't. But here's what I want to normalize. I did not talk to every person in the challenge, but the people that I have spoken to that had insane results, it took more than 5 days and they were not mad about the results they got. One of my best clients, someone who does a lot of work with me, someone who has made insane results, and someone who has not hit goals before, because that's happened to every entrepreneur. She made $9,100 in the challenge. So about 10K. And I think that makes sense because that was the set point. What is your goal? And can you make 10K without trying? We had people set what some people might consider insane goals, delusional goals. I had a few people set a goal of 100,000. I had someone set a goal of 80,000, and not everyone told me their goal. So everyone who did, I held space for that. I did a little meditation on it. I put it in my journal. And also, I don't even know some of the people's goals, and that is all perfectly fine. And I had always planned to do a podcast episode recapping how the challenge went, what I learned from it, what the highs were, what the biggest wins were, what my biggest takeaways were. And as the results started to roll in, I realized that we needed to normalize this, because I did have a few people be like, I didn't make 10K on day 5. And it's yes, and if it came in on day 6 and you still didn't have to do anything extra, right? You still made it without quote unquote trying. You made it from this energetic shift. Would you really be mad? And I think that's really important to talk about when we're setting goals. If you set a big goal, you're going to go for it, and the universe is going to give it to you, and you're going to hit your goal whenever it happens, right? That's up to the universe. And the worst thing that could happen, and I said this when I invited people to challenges, like the worst thing that could happen is you don't make 10K without trying, and you've totally shifted your energy. But I'll tell you, the people who didn't make 10K in the week but made insane results, we're talking 5 and 6 figures within a few weeks of the challenge ending, it was worth it for them. Okay, it didn't happen in 5 days, but it happened in 21 days, and their goal was what most people consider delusional. That is totally worth it. That's so incredible. That's what I want you to take away from this. So let's talk about a few of my favorite results from the challenge. And when I say favorite, I don't mean like they were the best results, but the ones that I think really get your wheels turning. I will say there were results like it changed my entire life and the way I think about things. That to me is the most important, the most impactful. But I think the big, juicy, fun, sexy numbers are the ones that grab everyone's attention and really teach us the lessons that are most impactful. So I want to dive into those. So first things first is one of my clients who did the Magic Money Makeover, a while ago. She's totally changed her money mindset. She's worked with me previously. She's not currently working with me. And also she came to the challenge and she set a big goal for the challenge. And I don't even remember if she said it publicly or just to me, but she was manifesting 6 figures. She was working on a severance package. She has been leaving her company, working on her business for a year now. And finally, she's been on this leave of absence. She found out that they're going to eliminate her position, which is her dream. This is what she wanted. And she's going to get a buyout for it. So when we're talking about it, she was like, I want a 6-figure buyout. And my first thought, honestly, was like, oh my goodness, you go, girl. That's crazy. That's a huge buyout. She'd been working part-time. She hadn't been there in over a year. So my logical brain was like, is she going to get a 6-figure buyout? I really hope she does, but that seems delusional to me, right? But the best goals are always delusional. So she had some personal things really heavy come up during the challenge, and she didn't finish the challenge, but she went back to it after it ended. And then she sent me a message. It was a week after the challenge had ended. She was like, sorry, I disappeared. This is what was going on with me. I'm revisiting it. I loved it. This is what landed for me. And I have to share with you that I finally have gotten this package. And I was like, oh my God, drum roll. What is it? Because it could have been anything. It probably was going to be 5 figures, but it just as easily could have been 4 figures. There could have been no package. And she's like, it's in the 6 figures. It's $108,000. And this just blew my mind. I love it so much because she set her eye on 6 figures and she got 6 figures. Notice how she barely got over that, right? The universe hands us what we can handle. Her brain said, ooh, 6 figures would be so juicy. It would be a lot. It didn't say 150. It didn't say 200. And of course, hindsight's 2020. We don't want to always make our goal so big, so crazy, so that it seems delusional to us, like we can't feel that it's realistic. And also, we don't want to make it too small, because that's what inspired this challenge. Was I had set my own money goal for a week and I made it in one day. And I was like, oh, God damn it, I made my goal way too small. So she got basically exactly what she set her goal as. And it could have come at any time. She's been working on this for months, but it came 1 week after the challenge ended. Right when she was diving into the work, she was recapping, she was looking at it. And I just think that is such beautiful divine timing from the universe as a reminder that it's coming. It's on its way to you. You never know where it's coming from. You never know how it's going to happen. And she set this crazy goal for herself. Everyone else thought it was crazy. She thought, no, this is what I want. This is what I deserve. This is what I'm going to get. And she freaking got it within 1 week of the challenge. Here is the absolute best part. It's not the 6 figures that she manifested. It is that on top of that, she found an extra 35 grand. So when she was leaving the company, they were going through her stocks, they were going through her retirement, she was settling everything up, and she had talked to HR about this account, and they're like, oh, that we transferred all our accounts, we don't have accounts with them anymore. That money is this money. The money you think is in this account is actually in this account. And she's like, no, it's in both places. And they were like, what? No. And she's like, I know I have money in this other account. She could have very easily just left it at that. HR told her no and gone on her merry way. But she insisted. She was like, no, there is more money out there for me. So she did some digging. She made some phone calls. She had to look things up under the company's number rather than her social. There's all these nitty-gritty details that do not matter. What matters is that she found an extra 35 grand, bringing her total before taxes to 143K. She manifested 143K. Did it happen in the 5-day window of the challenge? No. Is she mad that it came a week late? Absolutely not. That is life-changing money for her. That is totally setting her up in her new business. It's setting up her family. It is setting her up for success. And I think most people would argue that's a decent amount of money. This is why I want to normalize being patient. And you might be like, oh my gosh, that's not even being patient. Like, I would wait way more than an extra week for 143 grand. And right? Wouldn't we all? But I love that it didn't come in the 5 days, and it took longer, but also such a short amount of time of longer that it's like such a good reminder that if it doesn't happen when we want it to happen, it still could be happening any second. It still could be so soon. And I think the biggest takeaway from this is she knew that she was going to get it. She didn't know how. She didn't care what anyone else had thought. And I just want to be clear. A year ago, before she worked with me, before we had done money work, before she did the Magic Money Makeover, before we had done any coaching, she would not have believed that was possible for herself. When I look at the numbers she was pulling in and the amounts of money she was manifesting during the Magic Money Makeover, it was like, oh my gosh, I got $400 here and $500 here. Now, a year later, she is manifesting 6 figures. That is still a quantum leap. It probably didn't feel like it for her, but when you zoom out and look at how far she's come, like, that is huge. So there's 2 ways to look at this. Oh my gosh, I didn't make my goal in the challenge. It took too long. Or, holy shit, I went from being happy that I manifested $400 to happy that I manifested 143K. Where am I going to be a year from now? I would consider that a quantum leap. And of course, there's no rule, so you be the judge of it. I just love that it didn't look like it was a fast timeline. And in my opinion, it objectively is very fast to have that kind of progress, to have those kind of results. Then there's this other client who set a goal of 80K. She thought 80K was insane. She even messaged me privately, because it's a one-on-one client, and said, this is how and why I chose the number 80K. I know everyone probably thinks, who is this girl that thinks she can manifest 80K? But this is why I want 80K. And she hasn't been paid out yet, but it's looking like she's going to be getting 84K, when originally she was hoping for 60K. She's been patient. Just another example. It didn't come in the 5-day challenge. And also she was able to build that belief. She set that goal 20 grand higher, and now she's going to get 24 grand more than she originally was. There's also a client of mine, another person who had done 101. She's in group coaching now, and she had done the challenge. She set a goal of 100K. Again, one of these big numbers. People probably think, oh my gosh, this is insane. And she also really wanted to work with a dream client, but that wasn't part of the challenge at all. 3 weeks after the challenge ended, like literally 21 days, she messaged me and she's like, holy shit, are you ready for this? I'm about to have my first 6-figure month. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is huge. Because when I worked with her one-on-one, her highest month before we had worked together was 40 or 50K. I would have to look. We got her, I think it was 40K. We got her up to 73K. And now her highest month, she's about to have a 6-figure month. And also she's like, oh my goodness, I have been dreaming about working with this one client and I'm going to get to work with them. She set this huge ambitious goal of 100K. And not only is she getting it, again, not in the 5-day challenge, it was 3 weeks late. But again, I would argue 3 weeks is totally worth waiting for not just this kind of money, but her dream client that she wanted to have in her portfolio, the dream client she'd been waiting for, the dream client she'd been manifesting. That is what's possible when you just keep holding the faith and you don't go, oh, I didn't get it in the 5 days. I didn't get it in the whatever days. We're not on my timeline. We're on the universe's timeline. This sucks. I check out. I give up. She kept holding the vision and it happened for her 3 weeks later. And I think the most important thing when you're setting goals and you don't get them in the timeline that you want is that the waiting is really important. It's part of it. When you don't get exactly what you want when you want it, it's not that the time is wasted. It's not that you're not getting your desires. It's that the universe is testing you. Can you hold your vision? Can you hold the space? Can you may get offered things that look like similar to what you want, but it's not what you want? Are you going to cave and give in to those things? Or are you going to hold out for your dream clients, the dream offer? Are you going to refuse the things that are not what you want? And really what this is, it's building resilience. And resilience is really important when we're manifesting, especially when we're talking about things like quantum leaps, because they're not going to happen all the time. Sometimes things take time. And you need to have resilience to keep going when things do take time. So each time you keep going, you keep holding the vision, even though the timeline is not your timeline, even though you don't have proof that it's working, you don't have evidence that it's working, you are building your muscle for trust in the universe. And not just your muscle, but the universe is seeing that and knowing that, oh, this is what this person really wants. And they're holding out for it. Of course, I'm going to deliver. They won't accept anything less. The delay in you getting what you want in your goal, in your dreams and your desires is literally building the muscle. It's building the muscle of faith. Having faith and surrendering to the process is so important. It's something that I teach in my signature framework, the Wealth Method, which I teach in my group coaching program, Quantum Wealth Academy. It's the last module framework. It is harnessing abundance. And what that is, it's learning to be in flow with the universe. It's learning to trust the process. It's learning to surrender. It's learning to live in this flow state, because so often what I see is, oh, we manifest money and then it goes away. And we manifest money and then it goes away. And it's just like this push and pull. But how can we just start to live in this flow? And this is what I teach in Harnessing Abundance, is being in this flow. And this act of surrender, this act of having faith, builds this muscle. It builds trust in the universe that gets you such incredible results in the long run. But it's not a short game. You don't get to say, okay, I'll have faith, but I'll have faith for a month. I'll have faith for a year. And then after a year, I'm up. You have to hold the faith even when it looks like nothing is happening, even when the universe is testing you and things are taking longer than you want. And it's not always easy. I'm using examples like they had to wait 3 weeks, which again, 3 weeks is like nothing for $100,000 for your dream client, right? And also there's going to be times where it takes years to get what you want. I remember when I was manifesting selling my business, it took me years. But honestly, I held the faith. And once I fully surrendered and was no longer attached, and I just had faith it was going to work out, it happened so quickly. But you can't fake it. You can't fake surrender and say, oh, I'm surrendering to test this. You have to actually have faith and surrender. And this is exactly what the clients I have in the challenge did. They were not attached to the timeline. They were not attached to the how. They just knew it was going to happen for them. They surrendered to the process. And how amazing my client that got this 6 figures, that it also happened with a dream client. I just think that's like the cherry on the sundae. So what I really want to do for you in this anti-quantum leap episode, even though we're talking so much about quantum leaps, is I want to normalize delayed gratification. Because in our day and age, it's all about getting what you want as fast as you possibly can. If you want something, you can have it delivered to your door. You get everything on your phone. We're so used to getting what we want right here, right now. And there's something beautiful about just trusting, about having patience, about waiting. It really allows you to just energetically have this shift of, I know it's coming and I don't care what the timeline is. It's not that I don't want the timeline to be fast. It's that I want that, and also the universe is going to give me whatever is best for me, whatever works out in divine timing. And it could happen fast and it could happen slow. Both are possible, and it doesn't really matter because it's not about the timeline. It's not about the instant gratification. It's about holding and trusting, knowing that the universe has your back and it will come. And I think it's important to talk about this because so often we talk about setting intentions and the end result. We talk about manifesting from the very beginning and the very end, but we don't talk about that messy middle. And arguably, the messy middle is the hard part. It's the part that's not sexy. It's the one that is not getting glamorized on Instagram, about just living your day-to-day patiently, holding the faith, and knowing that it's all coming and that you have to just keep showing up. You have to keep taking action. You have to keep doing the work. And here is a reframe that I want to offer you about your manifestation. If your manifestation has not come in the timeline that you want, it's not that it is not coming. It's not that what you're doing is not working. It's not that your manifestation is not manifesting, is not happening. It's often that it is happening. It's happening behind the scenes. And it is becoming while you're patiently waiting, or not so patiently waiting. It is happening right now. And you just have to give it the time. You have to nurture it, and it will all work out. It will all happen. And what matters more than anything when we're manifesting is the knowing that it's coming, the knowing that it's happening. It's not the timing. So if there is a goal, if there is something that you're manifesting, and it's not happening in the timeline that you want, what I want to offer to you is just hold the vision, hold the space. I want to remind you that not everything is an overnight success. Sometimes it takes time, and that's okay, because in that time, so much is possible. So many things could happen so much better than you ever would have imagined. So many things can unfold that you can't see that are going to make your manifestation even better, even juicier, even dreamier than you ever could imagine. And it's really a gift from the universe to build your muscle of faith and of surrender, which are so important. Because once you have that muscle strengthened of faith, once you've actually surrendered, you will be better at manifesting. You're going to create your results faster. That's the irony of it all, right? You want it right away. And as soon as you no longer care, that's when you get it. Your manifestation is on its way to you. It's coming. So I hope that you take away from this episode to hold the faith, to hold the vision, and know that sometimes you quantum leap and it's amazing, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes things take time, and it's all perfect. It's all happening for you, not to you, and it's all happening in divine timing. Until next Thursday, happy manifesting.
That's a wrap on today's episode. If you're still here, I know you're serious about quantum leaping your income, and that commitment is what separates the dreamers from the doers. Here's what I want you to do next. Pick one insight from today and take action on it. Because here's the thing, transformation happens in the implementation, not just the inspiration. If this episode shifted something for you, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen. It helps other ambitious, heart-centered women find the show. And if you're ready to take this work deeper and finally break through that income plateau, I'd love to invite you to book a discovery call with me. Because here's the thing, podcasts give you the what, but coaching gives you the how. It's what takes you from, I know what I should be doing, to, holy shit, I actually did it. Head to the show notes or to jillianminter.com to grab your spot on my calendar. Until next week, keep choosing abundance over scarcity, alignment over hustle, and remember, you're meant for more. You just have to believe it's yours.